So for 3b5, we started with a compound inequality that wasn't written with an and or an or, so we kind of talked before about how to split that apart into an and. Right? And then the work is to solve each of those two inequalities separately using the techniques that we know for how to solve inequalities. So just by unwrapping the variable x. And what I get are these two inequalities connected together with an and. So as always, I'm just going to graph each one of those separately, and then use the and to connect them together, join them together into a single answer. So if x is greater than or equal to -4, I'll put a solid circle at -4 and then shade everything to the right. For the orange inequality here, x is less than 3, I'll place an orange dot at 3, but with an open circle. Why am I using an open circle here? Christina?
Because it doesn't have the line underneath.
Yeah, this little inequality symbol doesn't have a little equal to line underneath. And so 3 itself does not solve this inequality. 3 is not less than 3. And so I don't include 3 in my answer, which is why I use an open circle. So open circles, less than and greater than signs without the equality, as well as round brackets in the interval notation, those go together. And since it's less than, I'm going to shade everything to the left. But now the task is to combine these two answers into a single set, this time using and. So when I use an and, what am I looking for in these two sets? With an or, we took everything. Everything which met the criteria for at least one of the two sets would belong to the or. For an and, we need our numbers to belong to both of these sets simultaneously. So if I pick a number over here like -10, does that belong to the and conjunction of these two sets? It belongs to the orange one, but it doesn't belong to the green one. And for an and, a number only survives into our final answer if it belongs to both of the two sets. And so a number like -10 will not be in our final answer. A number like +8 will not be in our final answer because while it belongs to the green, it doesn't belong to the orange. So when we do and, we're looking for just the places where those two sets overlap. In some ways, and is a little easier to think about, easier to visualize, because we just end up taking those places where these two sets have in common. They're the values that these two sets share among one another. So infinite to -4 would describe this piece over here, but that piece, while it's in the orange, is not in our final answer. Same thing with 3 to infinity is in the green, but it's not in our final answer. So this time, our final answer is not infinite, it's not unbounded. It has a left endpoint and a right endpoint that are both numbers this time. The left endpoint is -4, and the right endpoint is 3, including -4 and excluding 3. So how do I write that in interval notation? So I want a square bracket for my -4, because -4 is included in my set. Again, square brackets go together with greater than or equal to signs, go together with solid dots. But for my 3, what do I want? I want a round bracket. Because 3 is not included because round bracket goes with less than sign, goes with open circle. And so in interval notation, our answer would look like this. So that's for 3b5. I want to talk through the last couple a little bit more quickly. You can review this in the video channel when you get home if you like, if you want to take more notes on it, for example. Let's go to 3b6. So again, same type of deal on 3b6. We have two inequalities, and we want to find what their solution set is expressed in interval notation. So we'll solve each one of these inequalities separately, and then realize that we have an or in between them, so that when we go to sketch them, my purple set here, w less than or equal to 4, and my green set, w less than -1, we can sketch those two sets, look something like that. But now because I'm oring these two sets together, I want to take everything that belongs to either one of these sets and compile it all together into one big bucket. So my combination is going to consist of all of these values of x. Everything starting from 4 on the upper end and continuing infinitely far on the lower end. So for that, our interval notation solution has a left endpoint of negative infinity, and infinities are never included in an interval, so round bracket, and an upper endpoint of 4, which is included. Oops. And so we'll use a square bracket at the top end. So for this problem, negative infinity comma 4 would be your final answer. And finally, for 3b7, solve each of the two inequalities separately, as usual, using the standard old reverse order of operations. Then sketch each of these two on a number line, in which case we would get something that looks like this. So the purple set, w less than or equal to 2, starting at 2, fill in the circle, go to the left. W greater than 4, start at 4, open circle because less than, and then fill that to the left. And our job now is to AND these two sets together, and we're looking for AND, we're looking only for overlaps. So where do these two sets overlap? But they don't overlap between 2 and 4. Because between 2 and 4, we have those points belong to the green set, but not the purple set. So when I overlap these two, in fact, I did exactly what you said to do. And remember I said a minute ago I made the error that a lot of people make when working these problems? I actually made it twice. Yeah, this is not the correct answer. We want the overlaps, and so we only want everything to the left of this 2. And that's the tricky thing, is that you get conditioned after you do a few problems, and I think I fell victim to this just now. You get conditioned after you do a few problems that every time you see an AND, you're going to get some finite interval with numbers at the left and the right, because it's, that happens a lot. Same thing with the ORs and the two pieces that Christiana was asking about before. Do we always get a union symbol in our answer for an OR? Well, it happens a lot, but it doesn't happen always. And so, keep your wits about you, because if you drop your guard like I did on this one, you might end up shading the wrong part of the number line. It's good for some partial credit, but, maybe a 4 out of 6 or something like that. And if I give you a 4 out of 6, you don't get to check the checkbox on your debriefing. So that means you might need some more practice.